notice that in Dead Man Walking, there isn't actually an argument about the death penalty. It's that the death penalty in America exists, that hovers in the background all the time and raises the stakes to life and death.
Here in Europe, of course, you don't have the death penalty. In the United States, there's a big debate over it. But even liberal people in the United States who are against the death penalty, this piece challenges their views on how far you would go to forgive someone who did something so horrible to maybe someone in your own family.
I grew up with that guy. That guy was in my school. That guy was in my family reunion. That guy was in my family, my neighbors, my friends. I was surrounded by those men.
What is interesting about the piece is that we all have very strong feelings about whether the death penalty should be allowed or not. But the piece does not judge, really.
What I try to do with the death penalty is show it, all I have to do is show it for what it actually is, how it's carried out, what the rules are. I have my own views about it, I'm against it, but that opinion doesn't matter in this piece. All I need to show is show the facts and let people make their own decision.
We all have our very strong views, and yet when you hear them, when you hear other views expressed with such passion, you cannot just dismiss it. It is a very live issue, and it's a very problematic issue, how we forgive people, how often we should forgive them, when we should forgive them, should we always forgive them.
What is our capacity for forgiveness? It doesn't matter that you don't have the death penalty here in Europe. If something awful happened, if your husband, wife, child was murdered, what happens to the murderer is less important than what happens to your own soul and your own mind. And would you be able to find the capacity to forgive that person for your own peace of mind?
I'm going to misquote Sister Helen Prejean here, but administering the death penalty is just as much about the people administering it as it is about the people who are being systematically murdered by the state. And that's what it is. It's murder.
The first time I did it in Tulsa, a woman, and she sent me a little message on Facebook. She said, I drove here to Tulsa to see Dead Man Walking all the way from Kansas. It was a 6-hour drive. And it was so beautiful and so powerful and so moving. And I was like, oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. And then she goes, my daughter was murdered 7 years ago. And you changed the way I think about the man who murdered my daughter.
I live in a very divided country where people are, divided right down the middle politically, and people don't move at all. And the arts, whether they be movies, music, opera, plays, are the only outlet for opening up discussion and hopefully opening people's minds.